Just before I stepped in front of the needle-noses, my name for them, they began clapping. By the time I actually stopped, they were cheering and whooping and jumping up and down. This went on for quite a while. Then they began to quiet down, and the crowd began to split down the middle. I noticed one needle-nose coming through the crowd to stand in front of me. This needle-nose seemed to have the respect of all the other needle-noses because they all gave their attention to him as he stood in front of me. I could tell because all their needle-like noses were pointed at him instead of me. He must be their father guy. After looking me over for a while, the father guy started speaking at me. I did not understand anything that he said to me, but I smiled at him the entire time that he spoke to me. I kept smiling at them all after the father guy finished. I was trying to think of something to do. I decided to say something back to them. "Well, it's really nice," I said, "for all of you to come out to greet me today. You know, I couldn't stand for any more of that food-throwing dance that the big heads do. You don't have a food-throwing dance, do you? Do you guys understand me?" I smiled some more after I finished and waited for something to happen. All the needle-noses did was turn around and walk away. They kept looking over their shoulders as they left, but they did not seem to care if I followed or if I stayed where I was. I decided I might as well stay where I was. I sat down and waited to see what would happen. For days and days I sat there and nothing happened. At first the needle-noses kept looking over their shoulders at me, but after a few days they seemed to forget I was there. After a week or so of being ignored, I was hungry, so I followed some of the needle-noses around as they went about their daily chores, and every so often they would look over their shoulders at me. Mostly what they did all day was spit on the ground. It was a disgusting sight. They would form lines and walk through the fields and spit on the ground, day after day. All the time spitting. Day after day, no matter where I was, no matter what I observed them do, they were always spitting. I do not know why I did not notice it before. Then I noticed all their food came from the fields they had been spitting in all this time. Food from spit! Now that they were harvesting, they had time to notice me. For the first time since I arrived in the Needle-Nose land, they offered me food. How could I accept it after seeing them spit all the time to produce the food? I ran away sickened to my stomach. After what I am sure must be something like 100 years, I could not take living among any of these tiny beings any more. I was being starved by the needle-noses, and I did not want to go back to the big heads to have them throw more food at me during their crazy dance. I felt defeated and hung my head in dejection. Now, since I was standing on a cloud of blue gas, as the gas swirled and spun, I could often see through the gas, or at least deep into the center of it. Something fuzzy, as if in the distance on the other side of the cloud, caught my eye. The shape grew larger and a little more defined as it came close.